Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora on this channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you come up, be sure to come in giving us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. That way other folks will know that we're here. And for that, we say thank you so very much. Family, the money war, the tariff war continues. How many of you all know that for many, many years, the United States of America and some of her Western allies have imposed illegal economic sanctions on mostly the darker people of the planet. And this is modern warfare, if you call it, because they've upped the economic sanctions more so than ever before. Now, formal economic sanctions, most of them that the United States has on different countries around the world, like, for example, Cuba, and of course, now we have so many on the Russian, of course, all throughout the continent of Africa. Many of them, if not most, are very likely illegal. This is something that's supposed to be agreed upon by certain international bodies like the UN, which the U.S. Connected herself to. So when the United States does unilateral things like this, and you continue to do it for so many years, then you look up and wonder why other nations are looking to build an alternative currency system. You're the only one that must be out your mind if you don't understand why that's happening. You understand? So this is a way to coerce. So we use hard power, soft power, any kind of power of the United States, the powers that shouldn't be, those folks. And I want to be real clear to these nations that the United States is sanctioning and stuff. Y'all pay attention to who's really behind that. So the same way the United States is doing all this little shady stuff, how many of you all know that the governments around the world can also stop elites from coming in and out their country? They can impose sanctions on you. They can detain you. They can make it impossible to do business with you in their countries in certain specific areas. And very likely this is the reason why America is acting a fool all over the whole wide world, because you know that this is exactly the case. You know that they can look at your visas and say no. You know that they can, like I said, they can detain you too. I also believe, and this is what's very little talked about. Of course, I've talked about the International Criminal Court and briefly, and also talked about the ICJ, the International Court of Justice. Just like y'all make referrals to those particular global bodies, legal bodies, which have disproportionately targeted Africans, baby, y'all are tripping because not only does Trump still have, my understanding, he still has warrants out for his arrest from like Iran and other Middle Eastern countries, or country, at least another one. But Netanyahu, his buddy, has a warrant out for his arrest from the international courts, from the ICC, the International Criminal Court. Now, we threaten them, and y'all also threaten the former foreign minister of South Africa, Dr. Naledi Penn. I've done several broadcasts on that. I've addressed it multiple times. And how I wanted y'all to ensure that you protect our dear sister. I don't want y'all just telling me how brave she is. No, show bravery by making sure that you are physically protecting her and making it clear to the whole wide world they better not. Now, I'm going to say it my Mississippi way. They bet not. Not they better not. They bet not. That's from the dictionary, not the dictionary. The dictionary is my book of words. Listen. Now, I just said I'll let me get back to the topic. I'm bringing this up because the United States was not able to bully. Now, they were able to delay now, but they have not been able to successfully stop his buddy Netanyahu from having that warrant out for his arrest. Now, here's the thing. When they issued what I consider to be an unjust warrant for Putin, you guys rejoiced in it. Now, all of a sudden, y'all trying to act like it's an unjust court. Y'all don't have nothing to say when they unfairly target all the Africans for so many, many years. Well, let me tell you something. Other countries can do you the same way. And this bullying, this hegemonic bullying, this imperialist bullying, it's not going to end up working. It's not going to work. So this is why I'm telling y'all this now. This is why the U.S. and the West, I'm talking about the white elites, the oppressive class. They're doing all this, beloved, because they understand that this is a possibility. So they throwing everything out. They're throwing everything out. Just beware. With that being said, watch this brief clip.
If you are expecting a package from Europe or India, you may be waiting a while. Multiple European postal services and the government of India announcing they are set to suspend shipments to the United States. They're citing a lack of clarity when it comes to new import tariffs that are expected to take effect this week. News Nation's Marcus Espinoza joining us now. Marcus, walk us through this about why it's happening and how it's going to affect you and I and the American consumer.
Yeah, Hannah, the short answer, tariffs, but there's a lot more complexity in that as well there. So both Europe and India are now suspending many shipments to the United States. It all comes down to how packages enter the U.S. and new rules that will change what gets taxed. At the center of it is the end of what's called the de minimis exemption. That's set to expire on August 29th, a rule that lets packages worth less than $800 enter the U.S. duty-free. This is a big deal. Last year alone, more than 1.3 billion packages arrived that way, worth more than $64 billion.
Okay, fam, did you see that brief segment? I'm reading to you now from the Guardian headline. It's in line with what you just saw from that News One piece there, News Nation piece there. This Guardian article's headline: Postal services in Europe suspend parcel shipments to U.S. amid uncertainty over tariffs. This just out at the time of the airing. Me recording this rather. Postal services across Europe have suspended most parcel shipments to the U.S., citing widespread uncertainty about the impact of new import tariffs announced by Donald Trump. France's La Poste on Monday joined other operators, including Germany's Deutsche Post, Spain's Correios, Post, Italy, Belgian, Swedish, Danish postal service, which all halted a majority of U.S.-bound shipments over the weekend. Austria, y'all, UK's Royal Mail family. It's a whole lot of European countries that's on the bandwagon with this. Also, India has announced later this month that they plan on doing the same. Now, of course, when you look at BRICS, which is made up of an international bloc of mostly global South nations, of course, Russia is in there, but the majority of them are the more melanated countries. Of course, the I in BRICS, BRICS, the I in BRICS is India. Well, India is jumping on the bandwagon. Now, India was one of the countries that the United States loved to use because India, especially the current leadership, Mr. Modi, he was buddy-buddy with the U.S. in ways that many other Asian countries just simply weren't like that. And to be honest, my understanding is even the previous head leadership there was not really down for America like Modi was. But of course, in recent days, we see that the United States has just really helped to push India and China closer together after this back and forth between the two countries, especially, to be honest with you, India really, when I look at some of the Indian news, they always dogging China. Just, oh my goodness, just China. Now, all nations sometimes, a lot of different nations have issues with each other, but don't let the outside enemy come in and exacerbate those issues. Well, India looks like they're trying to get a little bit closer to China now. So whatever Trump is doing to try to cause a permanent rift is not really working. Now, let me tell you something. BRICS, the BRICS nation is India that's now announcing that they're going to stop sending certain shipments to the United States. Family, this is outrageous. This is what I try to tell my family here in the United States, why international politics are so important, because you can't even leave your block without a large number of items on your block and the materials that make up your neighborhood that comes from other countries. Import and exports is the business of life. Our issue is making sure that we're putting Americans first, that our well-being is good as we do our trading with other countries. And that we make sure that we're staying up on what's really going on so that we're not being pimped by our government. Now, if for example, in America, we need to call out, for example, if there are Indian companies, Indian businesses, Indian individuals that do anti-Black tactics and attack us, they need to be called out. But we got to be careful not to conflate the whole country, nation of China, with a Chinese business. You understand? We got to make sure that we're looking at the details of every situation, case by case, so that we can properly associate blame, responsibility, and accountability on the right parties or entities or people. I don't need you to defend whole countries and defend whole people and this and the third. No, we got to make sure we're looking at that because our government, it counts on us to conflate issues. So when they know they make one person or one thing an issue for us, they know that upsets us. They make sure that they intentionally make a diabolical geopolitical cocktail. They mix a bunch of stuff so you can't tell the forest for the trees. And something that's unjust that might be taking place, we're so upset with them because it's a Chinese company here, a Chinese business here that disrespected us. So when we call them out, we go off on them. So if something happens with the Chinese government, we'll conflate all that together. And that might be a wrong move. And I'm talking that's on every end. So that's what we got to make sure that we do. But right now, India is a BRICS nation, and now they retaliate against the United States. These sorts of things can cause major disruption, and Trump is down for the chaos, and we're not. Y'all better get y'all's president. I can't wait to see what you have to say about it below. There's much more of this to come. Stay tuned. I've got an upcoming, very affordable, low-cost, powerful, packed webinar planned for September 15th, where I'm going to be breaking down why Trump is militarizing the United States streets and the rise of the new Black Vatican. I'm talking about the spiritual government, baby, that's on the rise and what this really is all about. You don't want to miss it. Go to my website at VickiPlanet.com for details. That's VICKIPlanet.com. Share this broadcast, please. Thank you so much. I can't wait.